Happy birthday to the very honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. As he turns 75, I'm sure you've been looking at all the various social media handles and all the stories which are doing around of certain personal anecdotes about the Prime Minister, certain people who've met him only a couple of times, but everybody seems to have come back with some personal story or the other. And that, I think, is a hallmark of a real great, true leader. When even you meet him for a short span of time, he ends up leaving an impact. Here on the Squirrels, what we want to do is to break down the story of Narendra Modi through the entire 10-year spectrum that he has now been the Prime Minister actually for 11 years. What's the kind of impact he's really had? Just imagine before 2014, in that time period between 2004 and 2014, Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister. Before that, there was Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who was the Prime Minister. The time period of Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh was known more for one phrase. And what was that? Coalition dharma. Compulsions of coalition politics. Now, the truth is that post 2024, there was a fear that Narendra Modi may also end up getting stuck in that kind of a scenario. That he had to break bread with two people who were his sworn enemies, like a Chandrababu Naidu or a Nitish Kumar. And yet, the sagacity, the maturity which has been displayed by the Prime Minister in terms of taking his two critical allies with him, not giving an opportunity to anybody to go back to that time period between 1999 to 2014. Something which tells you about the Prime Minister's ability of changing course, changing colors when the time really demands. The Prime Minister in 2014, when he first came from Gujarat to the national capital, was like a breath of fresh air. Everything that Narendra Modi did was considered to be something which had not been conceived of earlier. Suddenly, governance was all about new acronyms. There were new phrases, new catchphrases which were being spoken about. The Prime Minister, on the few occasions that I had the opportunity to interact with him up close and personal, always referred to one point, that people in Delhi never have understood me in entirety. Now, let me say this. 11 years in the Prime Minister's chair, I still think that that old, established, entrenched elite of Delhi, which keeps looking for opportunities to poke holes in the Prime Minister's scheme of things, still is not in a position to fathom just how does the Prime Minister manage to deal with crisis points, with crisis situations. And in his 11th year as Prime Minister and on the historic occasion of his 75th birthday, I think it's very important to spend some time trying to understand what is it that sets the Prime Minister aside from all his previous predecessors. His ability to respond to a crisis, his ability to hold on to his own. Just look at what had happened with Donald Trump. Suddenly, President Trump, from becoming Narendra Modi's best friend, ended up becoming his big enemy. Suddenly, the Indian economy, which was otherwise a beacon of light and hope for the rest of the world, was a dead economy for Donald Trump. From that dead economy rhetoric, which was initiated by Donald Trump, to now wishing the Prime Minister, calling the Prime Minister by his first name, tweeting, saying, "My friend Narendra," I clearly think a lot of water has flown under the bridge on both sides. And why has that happened? Because the Prime Minister, unlike his predecessor, did not panic. His ability of not panicking, his ability of suddenly not getting lost out in the din of criticism, in the din of all kinds of inputs, advisories, which are bound to be given to anybody like him, I think is what sets him apart. The Prime Minister's firm belief has been on the kind of impact he has made on the ground. Look at some of the schemes that he's spoken about. The Prime Minister's Jan Dhan Yojana, the insolvency and bankruptcy code impact, how the metrics have changed between 2016 to 2024. Recoveries, which had gone down between, let's say, 2014 till about 2014 till around about 2015, the recovery is shooting up 42%, up 67,000 crores. And I'm talking about this financial year between 24 and 25. All this is not possible. Whether it is recoveries through this mechanism of insolvency and bankruptcy code, or It's a reduction, the decline in the gross non-performing assets ratio from a high of 11.2% in 2018 to less than 3% in 2024. Now, these are not just metrics, these are not just numbers which have been created. These numbers today exist because of the Prime Minister's ability to keep an eagle eye on everything related to the economy. Look at his deep impact. And I think this is an impact which will be remembered for generations to come. The national highways, the expressway construction. Give all the credit to Nitin Gadkari, the roads minister, by all means, because he has been one of the pinnacles and successful stories of this government. But the support which he got from the Prime Minister, the planning which he had from the Prime Minister, metro network in 2024, national highways in 2014. What was the national highway network in 2014? 91,000 kilometers. In 2024, it went up to 1.46 lakh kilometers. Remember the stories which we used to see, that how during the UPA years, the rate of road construction had literally come down to zero. Now it's shot up so much that you're talking of a national highway network of 1.46 lakh kilometers in the year 2024. One of the reasons why this has happened is because the Prime Minister has created a mechanism where he likes to be personally informed and personally involved in all sectors of infrastructural growth. The fiscal deficit decline, another big story, which I think will be spoken about for a very long time. A high of 4.1% in 2014, 2015. In the COVID years, it went up to 9.2% between 2020, 2021. From that high of 9.1, 9.2%, it's down now to 5.8%. So once again, the Prime Minister's ability of managing the economy. And how has he really done that? Does he not have a team of advisors? Does he not look at advisories? Does he not take inputs? The difference between his predecessors and him is that while he takes all the inputs, he always ultimately goes by a decision which he is going to hang his life by. To me, that feature of Narendra Modi's persona, his public posturing, where he never shies away from accepting, taking responsibility for things when they go right or things when they go wrong. It's not as if that if things have gone wrong, it's a responsibility of some minister. For instance, let's say during the Indo-Pakistan conflict, during Operation Sindoor, it was the Prime Minister's decision that India must respond in a military way. Whether it was right, whether it was wrong, whether he came up for international criticism, whether he was forced to go to the Chinese, it was the Prime Minister all along. It was the Prime Minister all the way. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what sets a truly great, remarkable leader aside. It's his ability of holding on. It's his ability of not giving in to the situation. Look at roads, look at economy, look at fiscal deficit, look at infrastructure, look at India's deeper commitment now to space tech. All this is possible because of one man, and that is Narendra Modi. His critics, his opponents will say that Narendra Modi will go down in history as a person who had completely demolished anything and everything that comes to your mind when it comes to the protocol, the processes, the credibility, the sagacity of a democracy. That investigating agencies have been converted into a political tool, that police authorities have been converted into mere propaganda machinery. But at the end of the day, the Prime Minister, who could be rightfully, legitimately questioned for all that, will also end up being credited for all these things that we have spoken about. The airports to roads, the education to women's empowerment, freebies to expressways. It's Narendra Modi, the man who's led India over the last 11 years, who deserves credit for all this. From all of us here at the Squirrels.in, here's wishing the Honorable Prime Minister a very happy birthday.